Welcome to another episode of Speaking Through the Fog. This is Miranda, and we're still doing the family interview segments of the show. I did wind up getting my dad on, which is quite a feat, so here he is. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit?
Well, my name's Tony Largaspada, and Miranda is my daughter. I'm a disabled veteran who served in Desert Storm from 1987 to 1991. And after that, I worked as a machinist for a few years, then went back to college, got my master's degree in archaeology and minors in geology and psychology. Went to work for the U.S. Forest Service, where I worked as an archaeologist for them for many years, and I have 17 years of service in. But I am currently undergoing a disabled retirement.
Thank you. That was actually really good. Most people said two things, and you were very extensive, which was great. So, So the first question would be, what was I like when I was growing up, at least from your point of view?
Well, you were cute. You were always happy-go-lucky. You always had a lot of friends. You made friends with every neighbor I think we ever moved next to. And, you were really smart and often surprised me. In fact, some of your homework in grade school actually got me into graduate school because of the way that you solved specific problems and involving like word problems and stuff like that. You set them up in squares and some other things, and I actually used those to get into graduate school. And so, you're a really smart child growing up and had a lot of energy and used to terrorize your sister, even though you guys were actually really good friends, and you're a good kid.
Was I what you would consider a sickly child?
No, not at all. I can remember you having a cold or a flu, just normal stuff, but in any way, chronic illness, no.
When did you first notice the symptoms from my current illness?
I think it was back around 2004, somewhere around there. I think when it first became pretty clear to me that there was something going on. Started having some issues with body pains and had your gallbladder removed and began, speaking more slowly at times.
That was 2010.
That was 2010?
That was when Emma was born in 2010.
When did we leave? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking that we left New Mexico in 2005, but we actually got there in 2005. So yeah, okay. Let's restart. No, but that's the way that it was. Okay, so just a little before 2010, I guess, when Emma was born, like I said, I started noticing that you're having some issues with pain and just started having a harder time thinking about things and got a little slower in terms of speaking, and not necessarily at that time that you were speaking slowly, but that you had to stop and really think about something for a while before you answered the question. And I was starting to get a little worried, and I didn't really know what was going on. And you hung out with your friends a lot then, and I didn't know if there was something else going on. A lot of times I thought maybe you're having a lot of personal problems and that perhaps that was causing you to be distracted. But thinking back on it now, like I said before, you've always had a lot of good friends, and so I don't think, thinking back on it, that wasn't the issue at all.
So you said the symptoms kind of worried you back then. Did you think they'd resolve eventually, or were you worried that they were a bigger issue?
I thought maybe that they would resolve eventually. I never thought that they were going to continue to escalate to the point that they have. Um, I didn't know what you had at the time. I didn't know what was going on. Like I said, I kind of figured actually once you had Emma um, that would turn another page in your life and would take away some time from your friends and stuff and get you involved in family life. And I thought maybe that change would be the difference, but obviously it was something more serious.
And when did you first realize my health issues were more serious, like they were going to become chronic and a constant problem?
Kind of noticed that around 2013, I guess, 2013, 2014. Things started getting bad enough that I started worrying, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on. I was thinking that maybe you're having problems getting oxygen to your brain or something, and it was affecting your ability to speak. But that's when I first started noticing that there was something serious happening.
So, what was the worst episode that you can remember of me being sick that you witnessed?
I remember the first time that I saw you pass out. Um, I had heard stories about it and this and that, and I thought that maybe you'd gotten dizzy and fallen down, and and that everybody had called it passing out or whatever the case was. But I thought maybe it had to do with your balance. And first time I saw you go down, you were happy and smiling, and we were making dinner, and all of a sudden your face just got slack, and wham, you hit the floor hard, and I was like, holy crap. And that's when I got really concerned that this could be something that could cause you long lasting damage.
So, how has my illness impacted you personally?
Well, recently, since I uh, started, or since I left work, um, you've depended on me for getting you around to all your doctor's appointments, and I take care of the kids a lot of times because sometimes you're too sick to take care of the children, and it affects me. I have my issues with depression and anxiety, and as your symptoms got worse, it affected my depression. I was beginning to think, what could I do to help make it better? And I felt very helpless, and that didn't have a good effect on myself. And then I worried that um, because of my symptoms and everything, that I wasn't able to focus on you, and so um, it affected me emotionally and physically.
And what would you say your primary emotion has been since I've been sick? Especially since I've gotten like debilitatingly sick.
My primary emotion is fear. I mean, I fear for the future. You're my first daughter, and I start to worry about if this continues, and there's something happens like permanent brain damage or something. I worry about losing you.
And what is the hardest thing for you to come to terms with when it comes to my illness?
That it has potential to be permanent. I keep wanting to believe that somebody's going to figure something out, or something's going to happen, and we're going to find a cure, and something that's going to give you your life back, and that it's going to be like it used to be. And you know
You know, what do you What did you feel or think about when I first told you the doctors diagnosed me with chronic fatigue syndrome? What was your first reaction to it?
Well, I guess my first reaction was that I was glad that somebody had finally diagnosed something rather than basic. I just felt like that they weren't trying very hard before, so it was nice to have a diagnosis. Um, you know, but I I also think about it, and I thought, okay, it's chronic fatigue syndrome and stuff. That it's like if there's some way to combat the fatigue, maybe that would make you better. But the more I looked into it, the more that I realized that the fatigue and chronic fatigue isn't like fatigue that we would normally think about. That it's actually a part of a disease, and it isn't just being tired. So
That was going to be my next question. How do you feel now that you've done more research into it? So what do you feel about what my doctors have done and my treatment by doctors up until this point?
I've been really pissed off about it and angry because uh, I think that they've been dismissive and many times haven't tried very hard, and I have been upset that they don't see you day to day, and I see day to day, and I know that there's an issue. I know that there's a problem, and I know that it's physical. It isn't just something psychological or something anything like that. It's a physical ailment, and I felt as though that the doctors didn't take it seriously. And a lot of times it was like they didn't have answers, so they tried to make it your fault rather than admitting their inadequacies and trying to um, talk with others and work hard to get it fixed and or get an answer and try and find an effective treatment.
Okay, so we've got about 2.5 minutes, and so I'm going to ask the last question, which is, what is your outlook for my future? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I think that there's that once we um, finish when we go back to Florida and we finish things up, um, that I hope that you are able to come to and have a complete diagnosis with everything, including all the tests that need to happen in the future, and that we can find some treatment that's going to help you. I don't think that this is something that can be cured because of its chronic fatigue. It isn't necessarily a curable disease. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some sort of treatment that can manage your symptoms and uh, and make it so that you have a fulfilling life.
Well, Dad, thank you for answering my questions. And I know it's a really hard subject. Most people in these interviews have started out really happy and then really sad at the end. So, and next is going to be my questioning my daughter, which is an adorable interview, but really heartbreaking too. And like my videos, subscribe to my blog, and stick around for more Speaking Through the Fog.
Peace out.